Hi everyone, this is the distribution team demo on the 15th of June 2023. And we are basically going through the docs on how to install Omnibus in the clouds. And this is a demo that is targeted to team members that want to set up Omnibus for testing purposes. I'm gonna share my screen. And okay, installation docs start here. And just like also a disclaimer that we will assume that you have access to our sandbox cloud realm and you have your own GCP account, or you have some GCP account that you're able to test it. So getting back to the docs, let's check first the requirements. This is a long page, but I'll basically cover the most important things. The GCP VM that we're going to create, we already have like a storage that will work good enough for your testing, so we can skip this part. But this basically says that if you want like to have a local volume, an extra something, or you want to share your volume with multiple instances, then you need to prepare like a better storage. As CPU, we will need 4 cores as the minimum recommended. And for memory, we say we need 4 gigabytes, but as my testing went, this is not up to date anymore. We actually have an issue open by Robert for us to investigate why is that. But for this testing purposes, I'm going to set up a bigger memory size. 8 GB would be okay. But yeah, those are the main disclaimers here. The rest will just use the default. You can look into it more if you're testing something specific, but we can just keep it for now. So beside the requirements, this section talks about what are our installation methods. You have Linux package, which is our Omnibus, a Helm chart, Docker, installing from source, using get, and the GitLab operator. And today we're going to talk about Linux package. I'm going to skip this part too. If we go to cloud providers, it shows where we have docs on how to install. GitLab, we'll choose the GCP one, as I said. Yeah, and here, yeah, just basically some prereqs that we can skip. It should be all set up in our sandbox. And first thing we have to do is create a VM. So just go to the VM page and create a VM. Let's do that. So here is the GCP main dashboard. We can go to Compute Engine. We can hit on Create Instance. You can give your instance a name. Let's call it GitLab. Here you see the price summary of what you expect to pay in a month. I usually like to use, I think we can use E2, but I usually use N2 because I think it's more modern. And here we need 4 CPU and 8 GB. I think there is no such match for CPU and 8 GB. So either 8 CPU and 8 GB or 4 CPU and 16 GB should do it. If you want like to have like a better performance, like I said, on storage, you can also change the default disk, which is like the default, the balanced persistent disk. You can change to SSD if you want, but it will be a little bit more expensive too. And since we're going to allow our instance to be like available to the open world, we're also going to check this allow HTTP and allow HTTPS traffic. And this is all you need for your GitLab VM. So just go ahead and hit create. It shouldn't take too long to create. I think about less than a minute, I think. And we can also go to read the rest of the docs while it's creating. So here it's just suggesting how you create what we just did. So installing GitLab is the next phase. It tells us to tap the SSH button to connect to the instance and make note of our external IP. We will need that. And the SSH window will appear. And then we should follow the install instructions that are in this link. We're going to install for Debian. Since this is the default VM OS, we could also have chosen Ubuntu there, but we chose the default. So first thing it tells us to do is to update apt-get, install some dependencies. Now let's see if our VM is up. It is. Let's hit the SSH button. It also takes, I think, the first time you click, a few seconds. You have to approve this the first time you do it. Since I've already approved, it went right away. So I'll paste the comments here to install those dependencies, update apt-get. There it is. Next command is like, it tells us to install postfix in case we want to use emails and allow our instance to send emails, or you can use something else. And then there is like documentation installing something else, but you can do the default here. We should use internet site, so just hit enter for the default. Here you can choose if you have already set up your external DNS, like for your how you want to reach your GitLab and have this as part of your email, you can set it up here. Since I'm not going to use emails for anything in this demonstration, I'll just allow this like local name of my VM to be it. And the next step will be step 2, which will tell us to run this script. If you don't trust the script, you can open it on another tab to see what it's doing. But it will basically detect the OS that we are, check that we can really install the package, check if we have current GPG set up, detect the version of the OS, set up some GPG keys and key rings for apt. And yeah, so that's basically just setting up the repository. So I'll go ahead and run this. Sorry. Should be quick. Cool. Next thing says, okay, it's time to install GitLab. Make sure you have correctly set up your DNS. There's a link for it. And change the gitlabexample.com to the URL which you want to access your GitLab instance. Installation will automatically configure and start GitLab. If you set HTTPS, then it will automatically use Let's Encrypt to create like a certificate for you. That's great. You can also use your own certificate. I won't cover this. And you have the option to define an initial root password for your instance. I'll just use the initial one that GitLab will generate for me. So this is the command that we have to run. And we have to, like said, to replace this for our DNS. Well, here is the case that I won't completely cover, but you should be able, like if you have like your own domain, to point your own domain as an A record to this external IP. You can also use wildcard records for many of the GitLab service, but on Omnibus, it's not like in the chart that it set up everything for you right away. So you have to set up one by one. So I won't do this. I will just use this one and replace it here using the nip.io service. I don't know if you're all familiar with it, but just, I'm going to call it GitLab, my external IP nip.io. Nip.io is just like this neat service that works like a wildcard DNS and basically maps whatever you put in front of nip.io to be resolved to that. So ip.nip.io resolves to IP, or app.ip.nip.io also resolves to IP. So we're gonna make use of this because we don't want to use like our own registrar with a different domain, although we could. And that's it. And then we can just hit enter. I think this is all correct. And this will take a little bit. So we can check what's going on in the rest of the docs while this is running. This will like install the package, run the pre-install scripts that comes with the Linux package, which will like configure GitLab, run the GitLab control reconfigure command, and start all the services, check the services are running, all this kind of stuff. Well, we were here, we ran this command. So the next thing will be like to get the initial root password that it will generate for us. This will be like, I think it will be invalidated after 24 hours, or just, actually, I think it will be just like stored for 24 hours, not invalidated. Yeah. So you should probably just change this password as soon as you log in. And after we change the password, oh, well, there are some notes on email subscription center. I think this is more like to the users when they hold an instance for that long, and they can choose what kind of notifications they want to receive. Security alerts, newsletter, and all that. So we can skip. Recommended steps. This is an interesting one. After we install GitLab, there are some important things here, I guess. It's like from here, you will be able to go to like setting up your runners, setting up your registry. There'll be like different documentations, and we plan to also cover setting up your registry, since I think there is a lot to talk about in a different demo. What else? Yeah, that's basically it. Let's check how it's going. Oops, connection failure. That's a little bit unfortunate, but because we won't see all the logs, but we can always check what's the state of the instance. Yeah. Okay, so this is a good moment to share a little bit of some comments that we have available. After install GitLab, we can run sudo GitLab, sudo, GitLab control status, which would tell us the status of our, well, it's not there yet. It's still running. I wonder if because I lost the SSH connection at the time, if it, like stopped the install.
Well, that's a simple check of a PS.
That's good. And the command, well, let's just check everything. Oops. Well,
Well,
Would that
something's
be
running.
it? Something's running, right?
Yeah. Run it again so that you have a wider output. See if it picks it up.
You mean the PSOX?
Yes.
Oh, Omnibus control.
And the sync client. So my guess is that it's still in the middle of doing the install. So
Yeah.
does this have top or htop? Just go look. You might need to run that as sudo though. Yep. See, there's dpackage still running. So it's still in the middle of actually installing
Okay.
the package.
Okay. That's good then. Let's just wait a little bit more then. Perhaps when the package is gone from this window, then we can check, right? We can check the status again.
Yeah, probably looking for when apt-get gets done because it's what actually makes the call.
Ah, good call. Yeah. Let's just watch these 2 lines. Oh, I think it's on post install, maybe. All right.
Yeah, it's probably it's in the post install script inside of dpackage running Omnibus, running GitLab control, which is doing Omnibus. So you can see the sync client is running. So it's in the middle of doing all of the processing and starting all the processes and configuration and all that stuff.
Cool.
We should be able to tail the reconfigure log. So on top of watching dpackage,
Yeah.
it's var log GitLab.
It's probably sudo too.
Yeah, it's gonna be /var log GitLab. Is it GitLab Rails?
Reconfigure? There is a reconfigure.
Yep, that's the one.
Okay.
Well, the last update to that was 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
Is there only
And
one log file in there?
In reconfigure? There is just one.
Okay.
I have GitLab Rails already. But it's empty.
Right. Well, there you go.
It's empty. Okay. And get back to top then. I think it's gone, isn't it?
Try.
Oh,
We're not seeing the
no,
higher
no.
processes. I'm saying you probably need to scroll down.
No, it's still here. Yeah, it's kind of not being able to see the logs, not knowing where it is, what's happening is kind of tricky.
Sit.
The demo gods were not so happy today. But it already feels like too long for me, I think. It doesn't
Yeah,
take
and I'm
that
a little
long.
thrown off by there's no CPU usage.
Yeah. I would, if you don't mind, just restart. Maybe if I just run install again, but then it's like debugging crazy. I could like just restart a new VM and try it again. What do you prefer? How do you want to debug this?
I guess the bigger question in my mind is what happened to the sync client and Omnibus control that they're hung? Because this is now stuck in a state of like dpackage doesn't even know what's going on. if we stop it, right? And we don't really want to fully restart from scratch, but we could.
Yeah, maybe we could maybe we could stop it and run the cleans command and install it again.
We could try. You may not have access to the cleanse command, but
Yeah,
I
maybe.
think, yeah, we can do it either way, but what, the debug process might be good for what someone else might experience, right? So however you see fit on, someone who isn't a distribution engineer, like step in their POV, what they might try and do here.
Yeah, so since it's a fresh install, I think a good alternative might be this, like what we just discussed, which is like killing the process, apt-get, I think, which is the parent, I think. And can you get the idea of it? It keeps jumping. Okay, ID is 4401 sudo cure 4401. Okay, I'll assume this is what we wanted. And we can try now sudo GitLab control cleans, which should nuke everything after 1 minute. And after that, we will run the install command again. So the question now will be, did it fail because of the command, or did it fail because of we losing the connection to the process somehow?
I have no idea. It might be that because the connection went away and the SSH client went away, that standard out was disconnected and then sync doesn't know what to do. I have no idea.
That's fun then. Let's find out.
That'd be a fun one for QA to find out. What happens if the client uses SSH and then terminates the connection mid reconfigure?
Okay. Okay. Do I have a history of the apt-get install? No, I don't. Or do I? No, I don't. Let's take the command back on the install page. This one. Let's override the URL once again. Oh, this will be once. And let's call it, oh, it's our external IP again. This thing. .nib.io. And now, whoops. Okay. Huh. Do we believe? Is it really done? That quick? Okay. Okay, no, it's not done.
Okay, so at this point, we know that it says it's done. It also says you need to run reconfigure. And just because it says it's done doesn't mean we actually know that there's anything listening. So we'd have to do an SSNTLP ss command, and then the argument's -ntlp, and then that would tell us if anything's actually listening on port 80 before we bother to try to connect to it.
You mean the port, which port? 80? 43?
Any
443?
port. Remember that there's many components. Just take out the number and just run the command without the number.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Sudo?
we have SSH. We have no processes listening. So nothing is started. So if we do sudo GitLab control status, what do we get?
Nothing.
Blank. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it looks like because we killed the package, the cleans also, and the reinstall after the cleans didn't quite work too.
Right. So we may have to do the manually go nuke it.
Well, go back to the output real quick because it looked like it wanted you to configure the instance and then reconfigure what actually started.
Yes. Now the weird part is that it does actually status is blank. Normally it would have a whole bunch of stuff. But it's worth trying a GitLab control reconfigure as, sudo GitLab control reconfigure and see what happens.
Yeah, that's what we wanted to see. So maybe it works now. Let's see. Yeah, just to make it clear for one that it will be watching this video, this demo. If you don't get the error, you don't need to run the GitLab reconfigure because it should have been run automatically. There it is. Let's see if the website is now available. How does it look like it is?
Run the same SS NTLP.
We have stuff listening.
Okay.
Not on port 443. So maybe Let's Encrypt didn't get kicked. Because we didn't specify as the install process with the external URL with HTTPS, then I think it just used example.com.
The good
So
news is
probably,
that's simple to fix by editing the configuration file.
Yeah, that's probably it. So the lab, we can edit gitlab.rb. This is the file where you set up your Omnibus. And we can say here, external URL, I believe so.
You need to do that as sudo.
I need to do that as sudo. That's correct. But is it external URL? Do you remember by heart?
It is external underscore URL, and then it is a string.
Okay.
But the
Let me
thing
just
is, you
get
can't. Yeah. There you go.
Cool. And we already see it here. And it's using the example.com. So let's try once more. Our IP. This one. .nip.io. I'll leave everything as default. All the rest. And reconfigure it again. It'd be a quicker reconfigure this time. There it is. SS command again. 443 is here. Good. Once more. Okay, this might mean that it's just reloading.
Yep,
it's still like comment loading.
That is Nginx passing to Workhorse, and then Workhorse trying to reach Rails, and Rails hasn't fully booted yet.
Cool. And now we can log in. And we can cat, etc. GitLab, and this is the initial root password that's in the docs. And this is the one you should change soon. Good idea is also to follow the tips on deactivating your sign-up restrictions. As soon as you log in for the first time, this would be unchecking this checkbox, saving the changes. And from here, we can poke the instance a little bit to see if all is up. We can, I don't know, create a project from a template, Rails project. Can be private, need to be on a namespace. Let's choose the root one. Okay, it's created. What else? We can wrap up, or do you have any suggestions on anything you'd like to test? We can create runners, I guess.
Is there anything else you might do with the knowledge that this might be a test instance now that you're testing maybe a new feature or something that we've implemented in distribution?
Well, I think it depends on what you want to do. I guess what feature you want to do, right? Like this should already give you like all the service running, like sudo status. So you should have even registry is running because we've enabled the HTTPS. And I believe when you enable HTTPS, it also sets up the registry on port 5050. But you have everything. You have CAS here. So if you want to test CAS, GitLab is obviously working. Prometheus, Postgres, it's all there that you should need, like infrastructure-wise, I think. So, but yeah, you would need to install a runner, I guess. So you don't have a runner. So probably if you want to run like CI pipelines, then, but it's all kind of self-explanatory here. Like just go into settings, CI/CD, and then I clicked on create project runner. I have to install the runner first, then we can copy this here for Linux. AMD's architecture. You can install a runner. You can take this command to set up, register your run against the instance. Just hit enter to specify the domain, the name, you can hit enter. The executor can be a shell or a Docker. If it's a Docker, then you probably need to install Docker in your VM. And we can run this command. And there you go, you have created a runner. If we go to the runners page, it should be there. It's connected. If you go to pipelines, we can run a pipeline. And there is this build job should get picked up soon. Okay, it failed, but it got picked up. It failed for some whatever reason, but the runner ran. Yeah, I guess that's it. Is this answer your question, or were you asking for something more specific, Dylan?
No, that's good. You know, the intent of these demos is to enable anyone, but also maybe more specifically other teams at GitLab who you know, want to self-serve testing features. So yeah, no.
Also, from the perspective of testing in a merge request, I believe the package is built in CI, and then you can download that artifact from CI and install it. So it'll look a little different than the installation command used here from the official package repository.
Okay. Yeah, that was just like showing that it's you have like this GitLab control command has a lot of good insights and things that you can use. So have a read on the help option after you print the help option, like checking what's the active config, diffing the config once you change it before I reconfigure. Yeah, there are a lot of things you can do here. Check if you're ready to upgrade with the current config. Cleansing, which is like nuking everything, showing the current config. Yeah, a lot of interesting things here for you to check. Connecting to Rails console. I think you can also do this through here. And database commands. Yeah, so that's it. If there are no more questions, I'm going to stop the recording. Okay, thanks everyone.